What's up, man? Welcome to the Dual Threat Podcast, Week 5, college football. I am your host, Nappy Nick. Like you welcome, man. I got Jacoby coming from Hawaii at 12 o'clock standard time. We got Ryan beating one out before he gets on
I'm
camera.
here.
With the door open.
Don't nobody be speaking for me now.
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. How are we doing today?
I'm
Good.
remiss that there was no Florida State football last weekend, so
Yeah, it was.
I know, but it's Penn
I mean,
State,
yeah.
so
Fair. Fair.
Cupcakes.
Cupcakes. Hey, man, we
hey, with the new 9-game schedule, they can't have cupcakes no more.
yeah, man. Hell, let's jump into it since Ryan's setting us off. If you haven't heard from our listeners that are not watching live, the ACC has switched over to a 9-game conference schedule, along with one requiring Power 4 non-conference opponent in a 12-game season.
Two Power 4.
Probably just one. Thought that'd be 10. Could be wrong. Ryan got me second guess everything now over here. Tommy Tuberville first. And I got the smart notes this guy over here, Chat GPT. I let him look up. But Jacob, quick thoughts. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for the ACC?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. You create more matchups that are meaningful. I mean, you still got to schedule your out of conference games to benefit yourself, but I don't think scheduling lower tier competitions benefiting. I respect the teams that go out and play these big games to start the season. So, but I think overall it'll probably increase it a little bit, hopefully, because like I said, it brings more meaning to your conference games. Maybe a little bit more competition comes in. But also makes you stretch out your season longer. And, that mentality has to be there longer, whereas, if you got less games in the ACC, you don't have to necessarily focus nearly as hard. So I think it'll be a good thing. We'll see how it plays out.
So real quick, 2026, the first year, 1 Power 4. 2027 on, have to have 2 Power 4 opponents. That is an ACC mandate.
All right. You heard it here. Dual Threat Podcast. Ryan Davies, our fact checker.
Could you only, you have to do 2 Power 4, or could you do like a, oh wait, never, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it says Power 4. Yeah, it says Power 4.
Yeah,
so.
Power 4, yeah.
Yeah, so you I mean, if I were the ACC, I'd make that other game mandatory group of 6. Like, play your Washington State, play your Utah State, play your that way it bumps up the difficulty of your schedule a little bit.
Honestly, what I thought they should do, or I still think they should do, is go kind of like the basketball route and kind of have a game for game against another power. I know that's kind of harder with college football because these schedules are so far out in advance, so that'd be a little harder to do. But if they could do like a Big 12 ACC challenge, because I don't think the SEC would do it with the ACC or the Big 10.
They had tentatively planned something basically like that, like a SEC ACC, where it would be like 8-8, and the ACC actually was in favor, and the SEC voted it down, and then the commissioner of the SEC proposed an SEC Big 10, and that almost unanimously got voted down by the SEC.
Yes, they're scared to play out of conference.
I think Vanderbilt, Georgia, and South Carolina and Kentucky were the only 4 in favor.
In favor of it?
Yeah.
I can see that. 4. I guess my quick thoughts on this. I think how you feel about it as a team or a program is really going to be based more so on the program itself. Like Florida State, this isn't really affecting because Florida State plays this schedule already pretty much every year. But if I'm Florida State, Clemson, Miami, for the most part, this is a little bit of a disappointment, but I see why they had to do it because, you're looking for games to sell out. When you're looking at the schedule, kind of like the gas up season ticket prices. And it's hard to sell that when you have Boston College as a regular or Wake Forest and stuff. So, like, if Florida State or Miami can kind of get in like a contractual agreement that Clemson did with Notre Dame, and have that as a rotation more so than like instead of every 2 years or 3 years, make it every year. Especially, it's going to be a little bit harder to schedule SEC or Big Ten opponents because they're 9-game schedules too now.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a safeguard, essentially,
playing a lot of the Big 12.
Yeah, a lot of the Big 12 now. I mean, there's good programs over there. Like, I would love to see TCU. I mean, TCU just throttled North Carolina. So,
TCU Florida State would be a great matchup.
Yeah, that'd be the travel. Yeah. And I think for recruiting purposes, like that'd be a good introduction for like those programs going to Texas or something. That's kind of how you gotta look at
Miami,
it.
Texas Tech, that would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Baylor when they get right. Utah, there's good programs over there. It's just not a top 20 program. Texas Tech's trying to be. We have to see if they can actually live up to it. Any last thoughts on this before we move on?
It's just the way college football is moving. The ACC is a little bit ahead of the SEC in that they had already scheduled their permanent rival opponents. Hey, you're in the camera, buddy. Whereas, the SEC, really, Clark, come here, buddy. Whereas, the SEC, going into this new schedule, they hadn't had time to prepare. Like, okay, who are we regularly going to be going up against? The ACC already knows that because that was set 2 years ago when they got rid of the East or Coastal and Atlantic divisions. They said you'll have 3 opponents every year. So, a lot of the ACC teams are already prepared for that. And that's kind of an advantage. It gives you a heads up on who you're going to compete against next year.
Yeah, who's your solid. And with the SEC one, I don't know if y'all looked at it, but who you think got the raw? I mean, I give some time. Who you think got the raw deal of that?
Classic rivalries. That's who got the raw deal.
I would say I think Arkansas probably got the worst of it.
Arkansas definitely got the worst.
Yeah, they were definitely rated the number one worst one.
Yeah, like they got screwed. I'm trying to think the biggest.
Yeah.
I feel like Missouri got off the easiest, honestly.
Yeah, Missouri kind of got off easy for them to navigate at least. And Georgia isn't too bad with Florida and South Carolina being down. And they're missing Tennessee to get Kentucky instead.
Yeah, what a switch up there. And that, honestly, for me, that sucks both for Tennessee and for Georgia. That's such a classic game. That's one that you kind of anticipate to see every year. Yeah. There have been so many seasons where if one of the programs is down, there's such a good chance of an upset. And when both of them are on top, they're classic matchup. Look at what we just had 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, we just had a great matchup 2 weeks ago. Great matchup.
And they've been pretty good, at least when they go to Tennessee, at least. I'm going to say when they're on the road in Georgia, it's a little different. But when it's in Knoxville, that game is pretty electric. Definitely.
Yeah.
And for my listeners that are Gamecock fans, South Carolina drew Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky as their opponents or consistent opponents year in, year out. All right, well, let's move on to our next topic, which was breaking news earlier today. Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy, after, pretty good long tenure at Oklahoma in Stillwater.
21 full seasons.
21 full seasons. I was
going to say, what? 21, yeah.
Yeah. He's out as head coach. Just coming off him being pretty controversial, adapting to pretty much in that era. Then, as opposed to in our group chat earlier, losing, I think he's 1-11 his last 12 games, coming back to next year or last year. Brian, what's your thoughts of Brian? You think Oklahoma State got it right? You thought they should wait to the end of the season? What's your thoughts on the Cowboys situation?
I definitely think they should have waited till the end of the season. Look, if the season's already been as bad as it is, maybe you're saving some recruiting by the end of the year. But as far as pageantry and like tradition in college football, when you have somebody who's done so much for a program like Gundy had done for Oklahoma State, I think that's just one of those things where you should have the AD and the boosters sit aside and be like, look, man, we can't let this go on any longer, but we'll let you finish out the season. That lets Gundy, at least talk to recruits and let them know, hey, look, like they have a plan. Someone else is coming in who's going to run this thing. That gives him the opportunity, if he wants, to encourage the recruits to stay committed to Oklahoma State. With so much of the recruiting schedule left, you've just fired your coach at week 5. Automatically, that's going to have a bunch of programs that are in and around your recruiting region jumping at your top recruits. And not only that, it's just that, like I said, the man has done so much for your program. Let him walk off the field, for his last game. If he hadn't been there 20 years, if he had been there, 7, 8, I'd say whatever, that's life. But 2 decades, man, you it's not that you owe him, but you probably just should let him.
Any quick thoughts, Jacoby?
I agree with a lot of what Ryan said. I think it would have been nice, for him to kind of just step away at the end of the season, but you hadn't put it up on the field. You get blown out in games. It's definitely a time for them to change. I do agree with the whole recruiting process. It's going to set them back probably a year in recruiting. However, bring in your new guy. Hopefully he can be a 20-year, 10-year person too and get things back on track. But the rest of the season, if he continues to do what he's doing, he's probably going to lose recruits either way. So I think it's good for Oklahoma State to just go ahead and all right, let's hopefully salvage the next 5 to 10 wins, hopefully with a new coach, show some momentum to get those recruits to actually stay. Because if you're losing, I don't want to go play for a losing team. That's just. Yeah. So I think they got it right. Yes, it's unfortunate for Gundy, but he'll land a job somewhere, probably a smaller school again, and then maybe get another shot at a bigger school. But yeah, I think they went in the right direction.
Yeah, quick thoughts. I would say kind of live on the opposite side of Ryan. Not that, you do want to honor what he did for that program. Like, if they could do it all over again, they would definitely hire Mike Gundy for how successful they were for a team like Oklahoma State compared to the other program at Senior State.
He made Brandon Whedon look good.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So it's like, but I think the problem is it's kind of like why Nick Saban got out. Like, hey, man, you got to be willing to change and adapt to this new era. Pretty much, these players are professional students. I guess the best way to kind of make it right now. And kind of like what Jacob was saying, like you do risk, like if you keep putting out a bad product, with boosters not wanting to give money up to get recruits and stuff, like, that's that would be a problem. I know there's the new with the schools paying, but like who wants to play for a coach that doesn't treat you as a professional player that you are at the college level, So that's just tough. But like y'all said, I think Mike Gundy would have a chance. If he's willing to adapt, he can go to a small school, kind of like what Dan Mullen did or is doing right now at UNLV. Build it up and somebody give him a shot. Sometimes you just need a change up, Why I say that? Dabo, Coastal Carolina. Stone out there. You got free refreshments.
Hey, they got free concessions.
Yeah, right. Just saying.
Hey, maybe Clemson can hire Gundy.
Maybe Clemson can hire Gundy. Let's speak of. That's the perfect time to transition. Hey guys, we got Jacob's monologue of Dabo. If you haven't heard, if you listen, Clemson goes to 1-3 on the season with a 34-21 loss to Syracuse Orangemen at home. So Dabo call out Flack with press conference. He pretty much saying like, "Look what I did for this program," and a lot of people saying, "Well, what have you done for me lately?" And Jacob, as the resident Clemson lover, the floor is yours.
Well, yeah, as we all know, we've seen his press conferences. He gets a little winded in them. He does like to tout his accolades, but Dabo took Clemson to a whole nother level. We were mediocre under Bowden for so long. Dabo came in, he brought us to 10 wins. He got us to the playoffs. He won us 2 national championships. So Dabo will forever, I love Dabo, forever be that coach for real. But he just, and like I said earlier when we were pre-cast, since Venables left, we just haven't been the same program. And I think Venables is like killer instinct was what really drove those teams. And, I feel like due to that, we just hadn't found the right group of guys. I still love Dabo. I don't want anything, I'm not looking to fire him or any way like that. We got to give him, I think Dabo deserves a couple years to try to get this thing pieced back together. It just hasn't worked. But, at the end of the day, we got to have wins. If he can't consistently do that, I give him a few years, nobody can be perfect every year. But Dabo's still doing what Dabo does. He coaches, he teaches, he's mentoring. He's growing boys and the men, too. So that's another aspect of this game that we tend to forget nowadays because, not everybody's going to the NFL. So I respect Dabo in that aspect and what he's doing. His graduation rate's great. So it's more than just football at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, we want wins, and we're not getting them right now, so there's a lot of frustration. But Dabo is that guy, and I just don't see bringing in somebody else changing it that much for us right now, and if anybody's going to, it's Dabo. So hopefully he can turn the season around. Maybe Kate can get it together offense. If we can find a running back, we'd probably be a lot better. But, for the rest of the season, we're just going to have to see how it plays out. But I'm still sticking behind Dabo as much as he drives me crazy sometimes. But so
there it is, man. There it is. Any quick thoughts, Ryan? On Dabo?
I'm just wondering if are trades allowed in college? Because maybe Alabama and Clemson can trade head coaches.
I don't want the bore either.
I'm putting it out there for the rest of the Clemson fans. But in all seriousness, I wouldn't be totally surprised if Clemson pulls Florida from last year. Florida started 1-4 and then won their last 6 games, including the bowl game against Tulane. It is Dabo Swinney. He's been there. He does know how to coach. We know that. So I wouldn't be totally surprised if a few changes are made and all of a sudden we see Clemson being a competitor again. Maybe obviously not going to the playoffs, but at least being a team that you don't want to see on your way to the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I have nothing to say. Good luck.
Yeah.
That's all. Good luck. Been there.
Come complain to us when you go 2-10.
When you go 2-10, then we can talk to you. It's 1-3. Y'all be all right. I'll look at the schedule. You can recover. Maybe
now we lose to North Carolina. We're talking a whole nother ball game going on. That is a whole nother situation going on. So,
hey, man, don't even manifest that, man. Law of attraction.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Let's keep it going. Chapel Hill, we taking them over. That game's in Clemson or North Carolina?
North Carolina, I think.
North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's at Chapel Hill.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, man. Y'all got
We got to get through the bye week first. I don't know what we're talking about.
Through the bye week.
Definitely not winning the bye week.
+4 right now. Comes together cover. All right. I know we harp on these topics. I'm not going to go through all of them. Do y'all have any quick a quick thoughts of week 4?
This is, and it usually is, but this is already looking up to be one of the best weeks of the season. Week 4 almost every year is when conference play starts.
Well, week 4 is last week.
Oh man, I keep forgetting. I keep thinking week 0.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, last week. Jeez, sorry, I was all ready to talk about next week.
All right. I'm gonna go through the scores for you. I usually have a scoreboard. I feel like I didn't make it, but let y'all
I
see.
mean, last week was a little bland. Most of the wins were ones you expected. Indiana took it to Illinois. Holy cow, that was awesome.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, putting 63 points up on a team that's
okay. In fairness to Illinois, they lost 5 DBs in that game.
Okay, where's the rest of your defense?
I mean, I understand that.
What,
but
nobody else could step up?
Huh? In the
Nobody
secondary,
else can step up?
5 DBs?
That's a lot to replace.
That's 5 starters. They ain't that deep.
You lose 1 or 2, you should be able to, but 5, I give them that.
That's
Michigan, Nebraska, that was a great game.
That was actually pretty good. I thought, man, I felt bad for Nebraska. I thought this was going to be the one.
And then Memphis, congratulations. Huge win against Arkansas.
Comeback win.
Expect Sam Pittman to be the next name axed.
Yeah, I think they won't fire him outright. I think they probably just transfer him to another staff position in the university because they do like him. He's not going to be a head coach.
Sam Pittman's a likable guy, man.
Yeah, he's a likable guy. He's just not going to be the head coach.
When it was Texas State, SMU, Arkansas, like players like him.
Yeah.
Fans like him, but he's not winning at Arkansas.
He's not winning, which is a hard spot, man. That's a hard spot to win.
Bielma couldn't do it, and look what he's doing at Illinois right now. Like,
yeah, right.
Arkansas is just a tough.
I mean, he just lost 63, so you might not want to compare him.
up until last week.
Quick shouts to also Maryland beating Wisconsin 27-10. Malik Washington. If you don't know this guy, I haven't heard about him, please follow him. I've been following him all year because I listened to a couple of Maryland podcasts randomly over the summer, and right now he's living up to be the truth. 10-point underdogs in that game, and they went outright by 17.
And he's a true freshman, right?
True freshman, but he doesn't look it.
No. I've read a lot of comparisons. Oh, sorry, go for it. No, my bad.
Quick shot to Texas Tech, 34-10 over Utah. I will say with that game, the score looks. I mean, Texas Tech did put them on the fourth quarter, but that score, that game was a 1-possession game.
Yeah.
Early in the fourth quarter, so Texas Tech caught some breaks, and they just hit them with that. But any other? What you were saying, Ryan?
Well, I was saying up in Maryland, he's been getting a lot of comparisons to Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, that's a great comparison, but I honestly, in my opinion, a one-up is he reminds me a lot of Robert Griffin III. When RG3 was a true freshman at Baylor, he does everything. He can run the ball with power. He has an arm. He's accurate. Like a true freshman, especially a quarterback possessing those 3 tools, the way he's played so far, he does. It's 5 games, 4 games. I'm not predicting the future here, but with a start that hot, that reminds me of a former Heisman winning quarterback. And that's who he looks like to me right now. He's doing the whole thing by himself. Well, not by himself, but he's holding the offense by himself.
Pretty good. No run game. Heavy run game. But he's holding down, man. Shout out to the Terrapins, man. Freaking terrible. All right. Well, let's keep it moving, man. Oh, yeah, I guess before I skip. Keep it moving. Check the monologue. All right. Well, let's get ready for week 5 of the college football season. We're already 5 weeks in, guys. About a month in, end of September. We're going to highlight our Friday night game where we got our resident Florida State fans taking on our first road game of the season as we travel up to Charlottesville, Virginia, and take on the Cavs. Florida State is a 6.5-point favorite in this game. It was 7 when we did these bets. for. I will say, I look at this, man. I am a little surprised. I thought it'd be a little bit bigger of a gap with the spread. But Jacob, let's start with our Dabble lover. What's your thoughts on what are you expecting from the Cavs against the Noles? I know to see in this game. Take advantage of this first home game, open conference play.
Well, I think for the Cavs, you got Morris in there. He's been kind of lighting it up. They haven't played high-quality opponents. They did lose NC State. But I think as far as that, they're going to have to try to establish some type of run, which they haven't had much of one. But I just think Florida State overall, that defense of Florida State is going to give Virginia's offense just hell. So, unless they can hit these explosive plays against y'all, I just don't see it happening. And then to talk about y'all offensively, it's just, I think y'all's run game is pretty dominant and leaning on them. And so, but they're going to have their hands full with that defense. I think Morris is this is going to be the best defense I don't know if they play Miami or not this year, but if they do, then Miami's defense, I'd say the best they're going to see, but right now it's going to be y'all's. So
they do not play Miami this year.
No, I didn't think they did. But
in fact, after Florida State, they play Clemson, and the rest of their schedule is very winnable if they keep playing the way they've been playing.
Yeah, like I said, they played good, but it hasn't been against top tier quality opponents. So sometimes that doesn't translate very well. So we'll see what they're made of. But like I said, I just think Florida State's defense is going to wreak havoc with him.
All right. Ryan, what do you expect to see? This is pretty much Florida State's first kind of real competition since the Alabama game. So you really haven't even seen the stars for more than till the second quarter. What do you expect to see from Florida State in this game as they travel in the first road game, especially on a short week on Friday night?
Well, what I expect to see is what we've seen from them so far. Misdirection plays on the offense. That's been absolutely crucial for them this year, especially against the Alabama game. They've been running those sweeps, draws, and the RPOs exceptionally well. Replay options exceptionally well. I expect the offense to continue that under Gus Malzahn. Whenever it seems like teams are starting to hone in a little bit on his passing scheme, that's when he starts switching it up with the run game, mixing in your draws, your wide receiver sweeps. I mean, our top rusher on the season's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
The defense, I will actually say, first of all, I think NC State's this year is expected to be at least a decent competitor. So UVA losing to them, maybe not the biggest bang on them for the rest of the season. The defense is going to be tested for the first time since Alabama. They have Chandler Morris. He's lights out right now, already passed for over 1,000 yards. He's only had one turnover. He's taking care of the ball and he's making big plays. Yes. It's Virginia. You don't usually expect that. They don't have the kind of athletes on offense that some of your more powerful teams are going to have. But the defense can't just sit back on their laurels and expect like the last 2 or 3 games that it's going to be easy for them, because it's not. Virginia has shown that they can put up points. Chandler Morris, he did it in North Texas last year. He's in Virginia now. He's making people take notice. And if the defense gets complacent, he might carve them up a little bit. And, that's when White's going to have to crack the hammer. But overall, I think Florida State should have this game in the bag. Short week, you're right. Miami's next week. So this has trap game written all over it. Virginia has been an awful trap game for Florida State in the past. Let's hope we can avoid it this Friday night.
Yeah. And for a long time, this was actually like a pretty good rivalry, especially in like the late '90s, mid to late '90s. I forget Virginia was pretty much well, they didn't stop it, but they were like the first team that tied Florida State when they first joined the conference and won 8 straight ACC championships. One quick note about this game from a betting perspective. I know we're going to get our best bets, and I think all of us are unanimous on taking Florida State to cover at 7 or 7.5. I think the over would be a good solid, too. The over is 59.5, at least at the moment of this podcast. Both teams are 6-0 with the over for the season so far. So they are expecting some points from Virginia. Most models have it like 32-28. So I'm not hoping for that. I don't need that kind of heartache on a Friday night, but I wouldn't mind.
Don't ruin my whole weekend, please.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind 45-21 type deal. That would be more in line. And we can get there both ways.
Take 45-21. I'll take that.
I'll take that, right. All right. So we can get game day too, man. Try to get Lee Corso back there for one second game.
We got it next week, man. Miami, Florida State. It's almost in the bag. We're already on prime time.
Prime time, baby. Let's go.
Where else you gonna send Corso? You think you're not gonna have game day where Corso's gonna be? Please. Yeah.
Time slot champs. Let's go. Well, let's go to the SEC. I actually kind of forgot to do this game initially, so I'm glad Matt caught that. But we got a big rivalry. LSU taking on Ole Miss. Ole Miss is actually a 1-point favorite in this game. Over under is 55.5. Jacob, you think Lane can do it? Lane Kiffin can do it again?
No.
Oh no. Let's go. Explain your reason.
Well, he's already come out making excuses already this week. Talking about time difference, and we play them at home at night and doing. Man,
he has a point.
Don't worry about. Just go play the game. But I don't know. I mean, I do like their quarterback. What's his name? Chambliss.
Yeah.
Chambliss. You know, he's got the dual threat capability. You know, they've had receivers that are pretty dominant the past couple of years, and I think they've still. I can't remember the receiver's name off the top of my head at the moment. But I think just LSU in general kind of is in Kiffin's head right now. And I think this will probably be one of the games that he is very frustrated in. And that'll kind of prove its point towards the end of the game. But I just think LSU is more dominant on the defensive side. I know LSU's explosive offensively. So if they can maintain that explosiveness, then they're going to have LSU on the ropes because LSU's offense hasn't performed as well as we anticipated. So I think Lane ultimately, Mike can show it. If he can get those deep balls, then he'll come out with the win. But I'm still leaning towards LSU on this one.
All right. Brian, is there any chance that Brian Kelly somehow screws this game up?
Absolutely there is. Brian Kelly has, yes, they're 4-0. This is the most unimpressive 4-0 team I've seen so far. We're talking beating a wore-out Clemson team by 1 score. You barely beat Louisiana Tech. And even Florida gave you fits. So those are 3 teams that if you're number 3 in the country, you should be putting away based on how they've been playing. So there, absolutely, Brian Kelly could totally blow this. He's not impressed me. The defense is the only thing keeping him in. Brian Kelly's supposed to be this big guru for quarterbacks, and Nussmeier, actually looks worse than we expected him to. He was a Heisman. He was a Heisman candidate, like one of the top 5 favorites. And he's putting up good stats, but he's not putting the ball in good places. And honestly, I think a little bit of that has to do with play calling them in bad situations. Your defense has to bail you out constantly. Ole Miss's offense is too high-powered, too potent, and too deep for your defense on LSU to be your only savior. You need to keep their legs fresh. You need to keep them rested on the side. You need to drive the ball as best you can. And a lot of Nussmeier's success has come on the long ball. That's not going to give your defense enough time to rest up on the sidelines. Not against Ole Miss. They have 3 running backs who have already rushed for over 100 yards. Kieran Lacey's almost 400 already. And Chambliss, whether it's Chambliss or the other quarterback, they spread the ball around. They keep their guys fresh. That offense stays light. So you need to make sure that your offense stays on the field long enough for your defense to be prepared for the next drive. And if Brian Kelly can't execute, bet that Ole Miss is going to take advantage.
I will throw in a curveball for the listeners. The one worry I will have in this game for any position group on either team, I think, is Ole Miss's pass rush. I don't think it's the elite. I think it's relatively decent. They have struggled with the Arkansas and the Kentuckys and so far in their conference play. I think LSU's by far is going to be the best run game they've seen so far this season. So I think that's just something to watch out for. Don't get me wrong. You have the home game. You're playing at 3:30. So, there could be something that could tie. But if you can rattle and get pressure on Nussmeier, that could be the game difference. If you can't, he will light you up.
But another thing to note is Nussmeier's been playing injured as well. And the report is this week that his torso, he's practiced the best and cleared, but not making up excuses. But when you are playing under pain, you don't play lights out games all the time. But he has got the job done. So
better than Manning has.
Better than
better than Cade, better than every other Heisman favorite. So,
I mean, Nick, you threw in an X factor. I just want to throw out one as well. Okay. In this game, LSU's defensive backs have not played like they have traditionally in the past. Normally, that's a huge, focus on LSU's. They have the deep safeties. They have those hard hitting corners. I would look at the starting tight end for Ole Miss, Daquan Wright. I've watched him barrel people over a few times this year. He's averaging 26 yards a catch. And, yeah, some of those are because Ole Miss throws some deep balls, but this is a 6'4", 265-pound kid. Well, I shouldn't say kid. He's 20, 21, whatever he is. He bowls over grown men. So if LSU's defensive backs aren't holding, their pass rush can't get to the quarterback, I would not be surprised to see Daquan Wright, number 8, just wide open, running people over into the end zone this week.
All right. There you have it, guys. Once again, I will say we're looking for a line of a bet in this game. Right now, the most favorite bet is looking to be played is Garrett Nussmeier's passing yards right now. It's hitting at under 286.5 because it's looking like the move to make. So just keep that in mind. If you care about like prop bets or parlaying some prop bets, it might be a good one to take.
Honestly, I think I'd take the under on this game overall.
I'm in agreement with that. I think this is definitely going to be – where we have at 55?
Yeah, 55.5, yeah.
I think I'll hit right around there. I think turnovers will be kind of like the dictator on that
there
one.
Could be – yeah, you're right. There could be turnovers. But if everyone's playing clean, even if everyone's playing clean, I still wouldn't be surprised if we were under 55.5 on that one.
Yeah, 28-24. I can see a game going that way.
Something like that, yeah. 2017.
So let's move on. We're going to go to the other Big 2 conference. As we head over to the Big 10, we got Oregon Ducks going halfway across the country to play some football. Not more than halfway, 2/3 of the way.
About all the way across the country.
Almost all the way.
West Central PA. State College take on the Nittany Lions. Penn State's a 3.5-point favorite. Over under is 52.5. Brian, these are two teams we really don't know much about.
Nope.
So Who are you expecting to step up in this game? I'm gonna kind of start with the offensive side with Penn State. Is Drew Aller is he actually going to be the guy we think he is, or everybody's projecting him to be?
That's exactly who I was going to point out. Drew Allar's gotten
That's that one.
He's gotten quite a bit of help, not from a great run game, but from at least a competent one. He is taking very good care of the ball right now, and that's a huge factor. He might not be putting up these mind-blowing plays that a lot of us expected coming in to this season, but that's only because Penn State really hasn't had an opportunity to let him loose. Playing a team like Oregon, who's got such a high-powered offense, who's on and off the field, really quickly when they're holding the ball, we might actually get to see him really shine. If he's the player we think he is, I expect him to be throwing that ball all over the place, trying to make big plays, trying to keep Penn State either ahead or at least in line with Oregon for most of the game. As for the defense, we'll see. Oregon has surprised me. Not that you don't expect high-octane offense when you're playing the Ducks, but even by Oregon standards, I've been very impressed with their trick play calls, and just how quickly that offense gets lined up and prepared to set up the next play. They don't exactly run the no-huddle offense, but it might as well be with how quick they get going. I think Drew Aller is the biggest X factor in this game. Can he keep up with the Oregon Ducks offense?
Pass on to Jacob. Since Brian focused on the offensive side, we're gonna go to the defensive side of you. Which of these teams you believe would give the other offense hell between, as both these defenses are kind of predicted to be elite in this game?
Yeah, based off of, so obviously Oregon's defense is kind of coming in with the edge, I believe, in this with Ukulele or
Ukulele.
Yeah, however you want to say.
You should know that name by now. God, that's his brother.
I know.
You said it a lot, cursing.
Yeah, I tried to forget it. So, but Oregon defensively has been pretty impressive. Now I do know. I mean, I guess Oklahoma State. I mean, you can't really say. Yeah, they did. Have played that good of teams, but defensively they have dominated, which has allowed their offense to obviously just run rampant the first couple games. And Penn State has notoriously had good defenses, but I just think Oregon overall this season has played better defensively, and they will be ready to go after Aller. And if they can disrupt him, it's probably going to come down to 2 or 3 disruptions that are going to be deciding this game. I keep going back and forth on my opinion on who's going to take it, so I'm probably going to stay away from the betting side of it. But right now I'm leaning towards Oregon and that defense versus Penn State and their defense because just from experience in Oregon's offense so far. So
I also will say that probably taking the under in this game wouldn't be probably the best play because I think both of these defenses are gonna keep it kind of low scoring, keep it rattle. I will say the factor of Oregon having traveled so far could have an impact. I'm not sure when they're exactly flying in, but
and what time is the game? I don't even know.
The game's at 7:30 local time, so Eastern time.
Okay, so that's 4 for them. Okay, they could have been rude.
It's not the worst time difference.
It's not the worst. They could put them at 12. That'd be brutal.
Yeah, that would have been brutal.
Nick, that's an interesting point. But last year, Oregon traveled to the East almost as much as they had teams have to come their way. And whether it was Ohio State or, Northwestern last year, they traveled well, a lot better than I think most people expected them to. Because traditionally, West Coast teams, you're right, have not traveled well when going over to the East Coast in college football. But Oregon made it work last year, got them to a run in the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're just as prepared this year.
Yeah. And check out Dante Moore. He's been sitting there for a while, so I know he's a new quarterback. If you haven't been paying attention to Oregon, he's been in Oregon for 2 years now. So he was a 5-star quarterback. He was originally at Southern Cal. No, not Southern Cal. UCLA.
UCLA, yeah.
Before. So let's keep tabs on that game. There'll be stuff. All right, our final big game we're going to cover on Separation Saturday. We're going to go to the SEC once again. We got Alabama back in the spotlight, going to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Both second pretty much big game for both teams so far this season. Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite, over under 52. Jacoby, Kellen DeBoer has that fan base on his ass already. What would Alabama need to do to kind of get back on path and get back in championship contention? Side note, Jam Miller is looking to make his return, which is the Alabama running back that missed. He would be playing this game so far, to the best of my knowledge.
That's like the size of freaking Brock Lesnar. But I'm not going to say they need to blow Georgia out, but they need to kind of dominate the line of scrimmage, I believe, with him coming back. Like, if he's supposed to be that dude, let him be that dude, and then let Simpson kind of manage the game. And, we know Georgia's got a team again, Gunner. We saw what the Tennessee game was, how they were able to handle business in a shootout, which I think the SEC's moved to more shootouts than the defensive slugfest that we're used to. So, getting used to that is kind of weird. But I think Bama has to, like I said, win the line of scrimmage. Defensively, they got to stay focused, because if not, Gunner will make you pay. So they got to stay disciplined. And I do think Bama, they probably go in and they're going to keep it close. I think Simpson has a good game. He manages it, and hopefully with Miller coming back, that run game will be able to continue and pick up even more pace and just lean on that run game, because he's going to wear down that front for Georgia eventually. He's a big dude, and he's fresh. He doesn't have 5 weeks of football under his belt right now, so he can come out full blast. So I think this is Bama's statement game of the season to this date, and it'll kind of give us an idea of where Bama really is as well. But like I said, Georgia, they got Kirby Smart, and I will put Smart over DeBoer when it comes to coaching right now. And Georgia won't roll over easily. So, but for Bama to get back in that contention and get some pressure off DeBoer, they have to get this win.
All right, Brian. For both quarterbacks, as both these defenses are still pretty good, and Bama's getting some key players back on defense as well that were missed out in that Florida State game. For any our listeners that aren't aware of that, especially with, I think it was Tim Keenan. Let me check his name right. Yeah, big defensive lineman for for Bama. He would be back in this game too. As far as QB play, Gunnar Stockton versus Ty Simpson. We see Gunnar Stockton pretty much do it against Tennessee. Can he carry that momentum against the Tide, and will Ty Simpson, who actually, I know he gets a lot of bad flack for looking at the way Alabama did, but he actually played a pretty good game given how bad the offensive line was doing. Who do you think can capitalize and get their team done?
Well, between the two of them, look, they're both playing pretty well. Stockton definitely showed up last week, and I think that's just him settling into the game. Coming in, getting your first few starts, you're not going to be sharp as a tack right off the go. The difference is that Ty Simpson in the red zone is ace. As soon as he enters that 20-yard line, he's going to score. And if he can keep that up like he has, this whole season, Georgia or Alabama can lean on their run game, get you down the field, and then put the ball in his hands, and he's going to put it where it needs to be, because that's what he's done so far in this season. Whereas Stockton got some big scores. I think you can attribute that just as much to the athleticism of the Georgia wide receivers and special players as Stockton himself. Ty Simpson, though, he just looks automatic in that red zone. And even when he was playing Florida State, once he got at least near in field goal range, he was hitting his marks and made it. There were a couple of times, even though we looked like we were whooping on him pretty good, there were a couple of times where I was worried that he'd be able to bring him back. I think definitely Ty Simpson has more of an impact on his team's offense and their ability to score than Stockton does. Georgia's a little more spaced out. They have a lot more talent overall on offense. And if I'm picking the two of them, I'm picking the guy who's picking apart the defense when it counts.
All right, fair point. I will say from a betting perspective, Georgia hasn't covered in the last 3 games all year for all season, so let's keep that in mind if you want to roll with the Tide. They have looked pretty good against UL Monroe and Wisconsin outside the Florida State game. All right. With Week 5 being pretty loaded, even outside, like your B and C tier games are still pretty pivotal. As I like to say, this is pretty much going to be a separation Saturday. This is going to dictate who are the contenders and who are the pretenders. Is there any other game that if you have in mind or you're going to keep your tabs on? Brian, I'll give you first go at it.
Yes, absolutely. This is one we were going to talk about, so I'm glad I get to discuss it myself. But I'm looking at Ohio State at Washington. Ohio State, reigning champs, I get it. But I think people are already overlooking the Huskies. They didn't do so well their first year in the Big Ten. Happens. This year, I think the team's got a lot more talent. A lot of the players who stuck around are a year older. They're a year longer in that system. They're looking a lot better, especially when you've got a guy like Damon Williams throwing a ball. He doesn't turn it over. He makes big plays, and he's accurate as hell. Ohio State, they had a way too close encounter with Texas. Yeah, I know they put away Ohio, but big deal. Like, you should. I don't know if Ohio State is ready for an offense that's as balanced and deep as Washington looks right now. They have 3 phenomenal running backs. They have 6 players, I believe, that have over 6 catches already. And that's only in 4 games. They spread the ball around. They divvy it up. And like I said, Damon Williams does not make bad decisions. I think we'll see this week if Ohio State's who we think they are, or if Washington is going to grow into the Big Ten and become a competitor in that conference.
I'll also chime in before I let Jacob take over. This is probably the first kind of like real offense that Ohio State's faced. So, like, I know their defense is pretty good, but like seeing what we have seen from Texas as the season progressed, this is by far, at least on the offensive side, at quarterback and at running back, that they're going to see so far at this point in the season. I also chime in that Seattle is a tough spot. I think Washington has one of those stadiums that you don't really like think of the home field advantage they actually do have there. Like last year, they're coming off transition to a new conference with a new coach and a lot of new players. So yeah, the step back was expected, but I think I have my eye on that game right now. So far, I believe it's 9.5 right now. You can still get that across most sport books. 8.5, 9.5 is the range.
I was just looking. ESPN has Ohio State at 13.5 right now.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to me, too.
Yeah, I would take that all day for Ohio State to cover that.
I would like
to cover. for
I would
Washington.
like to point out that Desmond Howard picked Washington to win the Big Ten this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey.
Desmond picked against Florida State, so we'll see. We see all
Maybe
that.
he knows something we don't.
You might have some insight. That's what I'm chop it up too.
Yeah, if he's not picking Michigan, I'm picking his choice.
Right. Jacob, who's your is there any game you have your eye on you want to highlight?
I'm sorry, did you say Hoosier?
Yeah. I mean, Auburn A&M, I think it's going to be a good one. Auburn kind of showed up last week, we saw. Honestly, I think, they probably should have came out with a win in that game. The 2 botched calls that they had that were like, I can't even tell you what a catch is anymore. I really don't know, because that was just insane. And then the other random play where they scored the touchdown, obviously the SEC came out and said that shouldn't have been a touchdown. So they probably should have beat Oklahoma, but I just think Arnold showed up a little bit. He played poised under pressure last week, and Brett Venables' defense gives you hell no matter what. So, but we'll see what they can do this week against A&M, who I think is probably coming in to be one of the top contenders in the SEC. With Reed, you got Moss at running back. So, and defensively, they've done pretty well as well. But I just think that's going to end up being probably a classic game of the weekend, even though it's not one of the top slated ones, but it's going to end up being one of them.
All right, no, I hear that. Well, before I get yelled at, yes, South Carolina fans, you better beat Kentucky, and I'm just leave that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think a game that's very underlooked. I think is going to be actually pretty vital in the conference play. Is going to the Big 12, Cincinnati and Kansas. I think Cincinnati is a lot better than. I think that's a team that no one's really seen unless you really just college football diehard. People have not been paying attention to that they can actually make a pretty deep run in this Big 12 if everything clicks right. So that's a game. If I have, you have YouTube TV, you have your multi-view. That would be one I would definitely keep a tabs on. No betting edges in that game, but I think just actually wait till best bets. But I don't know, just as far as just watching football, that just seems like it's going to be a really good game. So that's Cincinnati and Kansas for my podcast listeners. All right. With that being said, guys, we're going to do our last segment of the show, and that's going to be our best bets. Let's do a review first of week 4. I can get it pop up. There you go. No, that's not what I want. Where's that one? No, there we go. All right. Week 4 college bets. First of all, guys, way better overall record. Everybody was positive today, so props to us. Our first.
Nobody got nil.
Everybody was over 500, and Matt wasn't winless.
He will be again.
But it's going through it from a listeners and stuff. We're going to start with Matt. Matt was 3-2 on the record. His 2 losses were over 64.5 TCU SMU and Wisconsin -10. His wins were Oklahoma -6.5, Michigan -2.5, and UVA -15.5. We're going to Ryan. Best weekly record for the week for week 4 at 4-1. Only loss was the over on Oregon and Oregon State 55.5. His wins were TCU 7.5. Rice -2.5, UNLV -2.5. I can't believe they won that game.
Down to the wire.
To the wire, man.
Down to the wire.
One job.
Believe in Coach Mullins.
And North Texas -1.5.
Watch the Mean Green.
Right. Mean Green, man. They're going to be running things in the Conference USA. Not a conference. Are they American?
American Athletic.
American, yeah. Jacoby 3-2 for the week. Losses were Tulane plus 11.5 and Iowa Rutgers under 46.5. Wins were Miami 7.5, Michigan State plus 18, and Hawaii plus 3. Nick also went 3-2 for the week. Losses were Miami of Ohio plus 2.5 and Rutgers plus 3. Wins were Maryland plus 11, Texas Tech plus 3.5, and Tulsa plus 13.5. And also the team that sent Mike Gundy on his way. Any thoughts of your week 4, guys?
Oregon State let me down. I believe the Malik Murphy too much to score points. That's all I got. It's all his fault, not mine.
How about you, Jacoby?
I got nothing on mine. Other than Hawaii should have won. Hawaii should have won, but whatever.
We're working on Hawaii. This is a Hawaii podcast officially for Hawaiians that listen out there. So send us some, he calls it the rose petals, the flower necklace.
Fillets,
yeah. Send us some our way, please. I guess I didn't go through before said. Official so far season record. Ryan's leading the way 11-4 on the season, followed by your boy Nick 9-6. Jacob's in third at 8-7, and Matt is in fourth right now at 5-9. Bad record so far. I have a 1-0 bad record against Matt. I guess over that Maryland and Wisconsin game. So go me. 4. We're gonna get into week 5.
I think we could officially stop calling Matt's best bets. I think we could just call him Matt's bets and leave it at that.
Matt's best way to lose your money.
Yeah.
4.
Ryan says, bet on me. Look at my record.
Yeah, don't let me get happy now. I'm catching. I had some bad breaks, especially in that Rutgers game. Says Ryan, since you have the best record, I'm gonna let you lead the way, man. Talk to the people. Or Ryan's best bets for week 5. Yep.
Well, I usually try to avoid betting on my alma mater, but this week I got to. Under the lights, Friday night, I'm taking Florida State 7.5 over Virginia. I'm battling Mr. Jacoby this week by taking Air Force over Hawaii. It's nothing against those Rainbow Warriors. I'm feeling the troops right now. TCU, I'm hot on them right now. So they're going into Arizona State, who I thought from the beginning of the year looked like a phony. Definitely shouldn't have been ranked where they were when they started the season. I think TCU is just going to take it to them and show that they should be considered one of the favorites for the Big 12 championship this year. Just like you, I was paying attention to that Cincinnati-Kansas game. I do think it'll be a good game. However, even with Kansas' ability to regularly score 30 or more points, I don't see these two together crossing that 55.5 line. So I'm taking the under between the Bearcats and the Jayhawks. And lastly, maybe it's just because they eliminated Gundy this week, but I'm feeling Tulsa. I know Tulane's been one of the best power or group of 6 teams around the last couple of years, but I think Tulsa can at least hang in and cover that 14.5.
All right, there you have it. Those are Ryan's week 5's best bets. So we're gonna move over to Jacoby. Pop him up on the screen. Take it over, buddy.
All right, so I got Florida State covering. I think we kind of covered all the information on them in the segment with them. So then we seem to all be on this game too, the Cincinnati-Kansas game. Cincinnati has been good. I do think, with them going to Kansas has a veteran quarterback in play still. He hasn't panned out the way, we kind of thought initially when he came on the scene, but I think he does enough to get him the win, keep him in contention a little bit. Then my next one, upset of the weekend, Mississippi State upsets Tennessee. I believe.
Ooh.
I just got a feeling on this one. I don't know. I think this is kind of
Black Eyed Peas.
kind of one of their trap games. So we'll see. Then I got BYU -6.5, and then Hawaii +6.5. They got a good team out here. They unfortunately they got to travel all the way halfway across the country to play this one, so they're going to be a little off time zone wise. But they might not win it, but definitely keep it within a touchdown. And we'll see if maybe their kicker, their YouTube kicker, he's got my vote, So those are the ones
approved.
I got for the weekend. Huh?
He's Jacob approved, Jacoby approved.
Yeah, he's got the Aloha vibes going on. So
I hear it, man. All right, I'm gonna read off Matt's right quick. He's on Ohio State at -8.5 against Washington. He's also is on Florida State 7.5 against Virginia. Notre Dame 5.5 against Arkansas. He has the under 53.5 of Alabama and Georgia. Wait, what? Okay. I'm an idiot. Okay, never mind. South Carolina 6.5 against Kentucky. He also has Clemson +4 to take the transfer portal.
You can already give him that L right now. Just give it to him.
4. And finally, the real best guy, your boy Nick's best bets. Also on the Florida State game, 7.5 against Virginia. Oregon +3.5 against Penn State. I think Drew Ayler is a fraud. My words, just nothing personal against the guy. I think he has a very talented team, but he's not going to jump over against the elite competition. Alabama +3.5 over Georgia on the road. I got the over 46.5 of BYU in Colorado, and I also have Syracuse, the Killer Orange, +6 against Duke. Those are your Week 5 best bets for the week. I hope we all gonna ball out with it. Besides these bets, are there any other plays you guys like to discuss across the board? As Ryan chased the cat.
Jacoby, you go ahead, go first.
There wasn't really any other ones that stuck out. The only one that the BYU over Colorado, I just don't think Colorado's got a team anymore that's gonna, after Shador and Hunter left, it's just kind of, I don't know. That's the only game that stuck out to me, really. So.
All right. I'd say for me, I'm actually looking through right now. Wow, because it's slow. I don't know what happened to it. Where we at? Crap.
Well, I can go ahead. Oh, you got it?
I got it. We talked about earlier, I think Jacob might mention Indiana, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Give me Iowa to cover that. I think that game's a little bit closer than people expected. But then again, I don't know. I say, actually, you know what? Don't do that. Don't listen to me. I'm not going to get Shanity anymore. I've been bet against that man for like about 2 years and been lost a lot of money. So I'm no Indiana all day. So actually, just shout out to Carly. You're watching this. We're actually going to go to Who's to cover. Actually, I'm going to go the opposite way. 7.5 Indiana.
7.5. Yeah.
So let's go Who's. Playoff bound 2 years in a row. Go ahead, Ryan.
I'll pick them a few times, but I'm going to go with them again just because it's my hot hand right now. Look, North Texas is running all over the place on these lower group of 6 teams. They're favored 14.5 over South Alabama right now, who looks like a carpet. So I'm going to take the Mean Green. If I'm a betting man, I'm taking them over it. Yeah, 2 touchdowns to beat South Alabama. And
you can get that down by 2 points too. By the way, a lot of books are at 12 right now.
12.5, even better. I'm taking that all the way now. And then Oddly enough, it's one that I would be willing to take a bet on. Is Central Michigan covering 6.5 over Eastern Michigan? Central Michigan, no, they haven't looked the best, but that's only because they played two top contenders for conference championships. The other two games where they played equal competition, they've been pretty solid. Eastern Michigan, usually one of the bottom rungs on the ladder, even for the MAC. So expect the Chippewas to go in and beat whatever Eastern Michigan's mascot is.
The Broncos, I think.
Broncos.
It is not the Broncos. I know.
No, it's not the Broncos.
I think it's the Eagles.
That's Western Michigan.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. It might be
the Eagles.
Whatever.
One last one I'll throw at, if you really are playing margins, Utah State, the cover against Vanderbilt. I think that is that was a highlight team. Someone threw at I was in like a Reddit forum, and someone was like, "Hey, this could be a good money team." So far, they're 3-1 in the season, and they're actually just really good. They're pretty good. They're pretty competitive. So let's keep tabs on that game. Not saying that Vandy's going to lose that game, but I think 22.5 is a pretty big spread for them to cover. I can see them win by 17. All right. With that being said, guys, that is week 5 best bets for the pod. Once again, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming out. Any last words for the week before we head to the weekend?
I like how we've all officially become Florida State fans in this podcast.
Oh, it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I wouldn't say fans, but I don't like losing money. I don't like losing money, so
a lot money.
That's like our first UNT bet, I think, of the season so far. So
yeah, I think you're right. Hey, we got the vibes back.
The vibes
are back.
The vibes are back, man. We are vibing. Our vibe bet, Florida State 7.5. Let's hope we have a Freaky Friday that's fun.
Yeah.
With that being said, one last note. I do have for anybody that's in the game, and I do have actually a college football playoff game in one of my leagues. With Texas Tech versus Oregon. I'm in control of Texas Tech. I'm probably gonna lose because this guy has a defensive line. I don't really think my offensive line can block him. But that game's at 11 o'clock tonight. So keep tabs on that. With that being said, this is week 5. Best bet. Thank you for listening to the Do It Threat podcast. We are live streaming on YouTube. If you're watching us live on YouTube, please give us a subscribe to us. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, please hit the follow button and the alert button so you know when we're popping on or when I upload this thing. For Jacoby and for my man Ryan Davies, this is the Do It Threat. Thank you, gentlemen.
See y'all next week.
Next week.